For 4,000 years, one plant gave a family almost everything it needed to survive. It made rope strong enough to rig the ships that built empires. It made paper that outlasted the books printed on it. It made cloth, lamp oil, food, and a fuel you could grow in your own field and pour straight into an engine. It grew on nearly every farm in early America. George Washington grew it at Mount Vernon and wrote about sowing it in his own diary. Thomas Jefferson grew it too. In some colonies, the law didn't just allow this crop. It ordered farmers to plant it or pay a fine. And then, in a single generation, it vanished. Not because it stopped working, because it worked too well. The richest man who ever lived looked at this one crop and saw a threat to an empire built on oil. And within a few short years, growing it in America would land an ordinary farmer in a federal courtroom. This is the story of the plant they buried and the men who made sure you'd never know what it could do. Look around the room you're sitting in right now. The plastic, the fuel in your car, the paper, the fabric on your back. Almost all of it traces back to a single source today: petroleum, a resource you don't own, can't grow, and have to buy back from someone else for the rest of your life. It was not always this way. There was a version of the modern world that ran on something a farmer could plant in spring and harvest in fall. The men who owned the oil knew it. And that is exactly why you were never taught this in school. The plant is hemp. And before you decide you already know where this is going, stay with me. Because what they actually did to erase it is colder and far more deliberate than almost anyone realizes. Let's start with what this plant actually does, because once you see it, the rest of the story explains itself. From the seed, you get food. Pressed, it yields an oil rich in protein and good fat, with nearly the perfect balance of the fatty acids the human body runs on. People across Asia and the Middle East ate it for thousands of years, and that same oil burned clean and bright in lamps long before kerosene ever existed. From the stalk, you get fiber so strong, it built the rigging, the sails, and the ropes of nearly every great navy on Earth. When the young United States built its most famous warship, it was rigged with more than 50 tons of this fiber. The word canvas itself comes straight from the old name for this very plant, and the covered wagons that crossed the American frontier were wrapped in it. From the woody core hidden inside that stalk, the part most farmers once threw away, you get a material that can be pressed into building blocks and insulation, or mixed with lime, into a wall that actually grows harder with age and traps carbon inside it for the entire life of the house. And from the whole plant, you get biomass, the raw material for fuel. Fuel a farmer could distill from his own field and run a tractor on, without ever once visiting a filling station. One plant: food, oil, rope, cloth, paper, building material, and fuel, grown on the same acre by the same family for free. Now ask yourself one simple question. If you owned all the oil in America, how would you feel about a weed that did all of that without you? This isn't fringe history. For most of America's existence, hemp was a pillar of the economy. Colonial laws in Virginia, Massachusetts, and Connecticut required farmers to grow it. In some places, you could even pay your taxes with it. There were years when a farmer who refused to plant hemp could be fined for the refusal. And the numbers behind the crop were staggering. According to a United States government farm bulletin published back in 1916, a single acre of hemp could produce as much usable paper pulp as more than 4 acres of forest, season after season, while the trees took decades to grow back. The sails that carried the nation's trade, the ropes that held its ships and bridges together, the oil that lit its homes, the paper its first documents were drafted on, all of it leaned on this single crop. For 2 centuries, it was as American as wheat. So how does a plant go from mandatory to illegal in one single lifetime? You follow the money. By the early 1900s, one man controlled the flow of oil through America almost completely. His company refined it, shipped it, and sold it. The petroleum that was about to power a brand new century. The century of the automobile. His entire fortune depended on a single thing staying true, that the future would run on oil, his oil. But there was a problem. The early automobile did not have to run on gasoline. The very first engines were designed to run on alcohol fuel, distilled straight from crops. The man who built America's first mass-produced car said openly that the fuel of the future would come from the field, from fruit, from weeds, from sawdust, from almost anything that grows. He even built an experimental car body partly out of plant fiber and swung a hammer at it in front of reporters to prove it would not dent like steel. Think about what that actually meant. If the future ran on fuel and materials you could grow, then every farmer in America became his own oil company, and the empire built on petroleum was suddenly worth a fraction of what it had been. So that future was not allowed to arrive, and the timing tells you everything you need to know. For centuries, there had been one catch with hemp. Separating that miracle fiber from the tough woody stalk was slow, back-breaking work, done mostly by hand. It was the one thing that kept the crop from ever truly scaling up. Then, in the 1930s, that finally changed. A new machine was invented that could strip the fiber from the stalk quickly and cheaply, the same way the cotton gin had once transformed cotton. In 1938, a major American magazine put it on the cover and called hemp the new billion-dollar crop. For the first time in history, hemp was about to become massively, industrially profitable. It never got the chance. Here is how you kill a crop without ever admitting that's what you're doing. You don't ban it outright. That invites questions. Instead, you tax it into the ground. In the late 1930s, just as that billion-dollar future was coming into view, a federal law buried the crop under so much tax and paperwork that growing or selling it legally became almost impossible overnight. One missing stamp meant a heavy fine, or worse, and the replacements were already waiting in the wings. The petroleum and chemical industry was rolling out a wave of brand new products at that exact moment. A synthetic fiber made from oil, patented in that very decade. A clear plastic film for wrapping and packaging, sold by the same chemical empire. Wood pulp paper, backed by enormous timber and newspaper fortunes. Every one of those products competed head-to-head with the same humble farm crop. And every one of them belonged to the men who owned the oil, the chemicals, and the forests. Regulate the free crop out of existence, and the paid replacements inherit the entire market. Every dollar a family used to save by growing their own quietly becomes a dollar somebody else now collects forever. It worked. Within a few short years, an entire branch of American agriculture simply disappeared, and the knowledge of how to grow it, process it, and use it disappeared right along with it. A skill set built over 4,000 years was gone in less than one generation. And this is the part that should make you angry. Everything that plant did, you were once meant to be able to do for yourself. Grow your own food, press your own oil, make your own rope, your own cloth, your own fuel. Need nothing from anyone. That independence didn't fade by accident. It was engineered out of American life on purpose and replaced with a system where nearly everything you touch has to be bought every single month for the rest of your life. We put together a complete step-by-step system for taking that independence back. How to grow, store, and use the forgotten crops that once made ordinary families self-sufficient, even if you have never grown a single thing in your life. It's called the Self-Sufficient Backyard Blueprint, and the link is waiting for you at the very top of the description. If this story is making you rethink how dependent you've quietly become, that is exactly where to start. Now, back to what they took from us. Think about what was actually traded away here. Remember that government bulletin, the one that found an acre of hemp could replace 4 acres of forest for paper. For the last 100 years, we have leveled entire forests for paper that a fast-growing field crop could have produced again and again, without ever touching a tree. The fuel independence that every farm in the country could have had became a permanent dependence on a pump owned by someone else. Instead of distilling clean fuel from a field, America would buy its energy and keep buying it, decade after decade, for the next 100 years. And the plastics and synthetics that now choke our landfills and our oceans replace materials that came from a plant and returned quietly back to the soil. We traded a closed natural loop for a one-way road that ends in a dump that never goes away. That is the real cost, not just one banned crop. An entire way of living where you grow and make what you need with your own 2 hands, quietly deleted and replaced with a life where you rent almost everything you depend on until the day you die. But here is what they could not bury forever. The plant never went extinct. The knowledge was suppressed, not destroyed. And after nearly a century locked in the dark, growing industrial hemp legally became possible again across much of the country just a few years ago. The seeds are back on grocery shelves as food. Builders are pouring hemp and lime walls that outlast concrete. Farmers are pressing the oil once more and weaving the fiber again. The empire that buried this crop is still enormous. But the door that was slammed shut back in the 1930s has finally cracked back open. And most people walking right past those hemp seeds in the store still have no idea the door was ever closed, let alone who closed it or why. You do now. So here is what you do with that. Understand that self-sufficiency was never a fantasy, and it was never some fringe idea. It was the default way of life in this country, right up until someone with a fortune at stake decided it shouldn't be. Learn which crops on your own land can feed you, fuel you, and clothe you. Learn to save your own seed, so you never have to buy the same plant twice. Learn to build and feed your own soil, instead of renting it back one expensive bag at a time. Hemp is only one example. There are dozens more, crops, trees, and methods that were quietly forgotten for the exact same reason. Because a free, renewable thing will always be a threat to anyone who would rather sell you the version you have to keep paying for. That is the entire reason this channel exists, to dig them back up one at a time and put them back in your hands. They couldn't burn the seeds. They could only make us forget how to plant them. So let's remember, together. If this story opened your eyes, do 2 things before you go. Subscribe, because every single week we resurrect another piece of the knowledge they spent fortunes to bury. And grab the Self-Sufficient Backyard Blueprint in the description below. It is the practical, step-by-step version of everything this channel stands for. They took the crop. They could never take the soil. And the harvest begins now.